next up, we have Joe from Illinois. And I don't want to misrepresent you, but it sounds like you believe 5G caused COVID. Is that correct?
Yeah, how's it going, guys?
Good. How are
Hey,
you?
Joe.
All right, I'm hanging in there.
Good.
So my whole experience. I've been sick for like a year already, and there's a lot of things that I just feel like we're just being lied to in a lot of ways. I don't know.
Okay.
It just doesn't seem like this virus, to me, from my experience, doesn't seem like it exists at all.
When you say it doesn't seem like it exists, are you saying there's no such thing as it, or what are you saying?
Yeah, I don't believe this COVID virus exists at all. I believe that 5G and radio frequencies are the cause of it.
So
You're saying two things, though, Joe. You're saying it doesn't exist, and then you're saying 5G caused it.
Well, what I'm saying is the reason why people are getting sick and people are dying is from the radio frequency, the EMFs that we are emitting into the environment. And to me, the whole virus is just kind of a cover up for what the tech that we're pushing out, if that makes any sense.
I see. So the government and the media is lying to us, is what you're saying.
Why?
Yes.
Why would they want to kill their customers? Because as we know, if all these people keep dying, they're not going to sell cell phones. So why do you think that is?
Because if you kill off people, yeah, exactly, you're killing your customers, which is bad. But I mean, some of these people, I mean, like Bill Gates has been open about talking about population control and using healthcare and vaccines to curb our population growth.
Well, that's okay. So let's stay away from there, just because that's going to bring us down a whole nother rabbit hole. We'll stick with.
Let me ask you this, Joe. Do you use a cell phone?
Now I cannot. I actually. So let me just. Can I just explain my experience this past year and my illness?
Sure. Just if you could keep it to like the finer, important details.
Okay. So as of March last year, like right in the midst of the lockdown we had, I got sick. I began to have all the similar symptoms. I started one day I had a runny nose. Next day, it turned into fatigue and hot and cold flashes, flu. Mild symptoms, and just by a weekend, I ended up going to the emergency room. I had chest tension, shortness of breath, all that stuff. I didn't get a cough, and I didn't register a fever, but they noted that my skin was warm at the emergency room, and so the testing really wasn't there yet. Like, they had a tent outside the hospital, but it wasn't up and running. I don't even think anybody was manning the tent when I went there. They were like talking back and forth, like, is the person there yet or whatever. And so anyways, literally like the next day when I came home, the next day or two, I started noticing tingling when I was on my smartphone, where I couldn't touch my screen. It would hurt my fingers and it hurt my wrist. Like, I'd get nerve pain. So
do you know there's actually a name for that? It's called cell phone. Oh crap. They used to call it tennis elbow, but cell phone elbow. And what happens is and I hope I'm explaining this correctly. Your ulnar nerve starts like the cubital tunnel area starts decreasing in size, and what happens is the nerve starts grating against the bone, which then causes this tingling and pain in your fingers and wrists. I actually had that and had to have surgery as a result of it.
Wow. So it started out that way, and at first I was like, okay, what is, kind of paying attention to it, but not really looking too far into it. Just seemed a little odd, because it kind of went away, and I was able to function a little better. So anyways, a couple weeks later, like, it started again, like in my forearm that I was holding the phone in front of, and I started to get eye pain and headaches whenever I was using my phone. Whenever like I was calling or I was online doing stuff, or I'd even get like tightening in my throat and tingling in my tongue. So I became very, it's called electromagnetic hypersensitivity, EHS, or microwave illness. I guess it goes back decades. Like the Russians first termed it as microwave illness. A lot came from military use, people being around radar too much and things like that. Is when like it first started to get noticed as, a problem. So now it escalated to like I can't use a cell phone. I had to get rid of my Wi-Fi router from my desk because I do all my work just like we use our phones for everything. So
well, I have a question.
Why do my work? So I work from my computer.
Real quick, I have a question.
I think you have the same question I do, Ethan. Ask it.
Why are you using a cell phone right now?
I'm not using a cell phone.
How are we communicating?
I'm on a landline. I had to install fiber optic.
Well, the question I had, Joe, is why are you being targeted? Why is Bill Gates or whoever's behind this 5G conspiracy, why are they targeting you? I use a cell phone every day, and everyone around me, everyone I know uses cell phones. And I know hundreds of people personally that I've seen use cell phones, and none of them have gotten sick. So why are you being targeted?
I don't think I'm specifically being targeted.
Okay.
A lot of people have actually gotten sick before 5G just from Wi-Fi and using cell phones previously. I didn't know this before I got sick, but researching into it, it's actually there's actually disability codes for it and stuff throughout the medical system that have just been.
But why wouldn't we all be getting sick if it's that dangerous?
Right, because 5G towers are going up like more and more. And also, why? So, do you know there's countries without 5G where people have COVID?
As far as I haven't looked into every single country who's had COVID, but as far as I know, 120 different countries have already started their 5G programs. So
I don't know if it's up to 120. There is a larger list. It's primarily China and the US, I believe South Korea. Please, someone feel free to double check that. But there are a boatload of countries that are that have COVID and have absolutely no 5G.
I don't know. I haven't dug into every single country, but just from looking at the maps that I've looked at, there are 120 countries across the world that have rolled out their 5G. So
yeah, but Ethan's point is that there are countries who haven't and still have COVID cases.
Your other question about why aren't you sick and I'm why am I sick and not you?
Mm-hmm.
We all have different tolerances. It's like some people are allergic to cats or dogs. I'm not allergic to cats or dogs. I haven't been allergic to anything in my whole life.
So are you saying like some people are allergic to 5G?
It becomes like an allergic reaction because the immune system kicks in, and it has a negative response in the body. So if you wouldn't mind, I could get into the biophysics of, the
probably don't need to.
Without a physicist here, I'm gonna pass on the biophysics only because I don't want to let information slip out that can be potentially harmful and mislead people, because we already do have a lot of stations or channels and news cycles that just allow whatever on the air, and I want to be as responsible as possible. So
I respect that 100%.
With, what is it specifically that you think 5G is doing? And why do you think they're, again, using it knowing they're going to kill their customers? Was that because You think they need population control?
I don't have exactly their proper agenda, but there's a lot of money involved in it. There's trillions of dollars involved in it, and it's this whole fourth industrial revolution, right?
Well, that's the point. You with all that money at stake, Joe, you need as many customers as you can get. And every company that uses 5G or Wi-Fi or whatever, they don't want to kill their customers. They want to grow their customer base. So they're not going to do something knowing that it kills them. They're competing against other businesses that use the same technology, and they want every single live customer they can get. So this makes no sense.
You have a valid point there, but there has been zero testing of 5G before they even rolled it out on humans.
No, that's not true.
No, that's completely false.
No, they've tested 5G regularly. In fact, the 5G bandwidth. I wish I had better access to all my memory, but the 5G bandwidth they've had it for quite a long time. They've only now started rolling it out, and it's been going on for quite some time. So that's definitely not true.
These companies are all in business to make money. That's the only thing they care about is the dollars that they make.
So if you wouldn't mind, let me go into it a little bit. As far as the testing and stuff that they've done.
In terms of, like, what do you mean?
So when we first rolled out cell phones to begin with, before, any of these 4G or 5G, when cell phones first started, right? Back in the late 80s, this question came up, was the health concerns and the health, is there health hazards or whatnot. So the government gave Motorola $28.5 million to do their own testing. And then when the scientists came back and there was all these negative effects, they actually discredited that scientist and swept it under the rug. And he has come out and said in documentaries that I've seen, if people knew what the damage that could be caused by cell phones, they would never even hit the market. But the demand for them was so great, convenience, economic growth was where things got just pushed to the side and, business rolled on. So
I actually, real quick, I want to interject with two questions. Have you tested your 5G theory by perhaps moving and getting away from the tower to see if your health improves?
I did try that because I have a place out in rural Indiana where it's a little more spread out, but I had a problem getting away from my cell phone completely to really test it out properly. Because, you got to be away from the cell phone completely to really know, right? And out here, I don't use a cell phone, but out there, I was trying to get it hooked up to get a landline, and I was having problems because the landlord owns the property out there. So, unfortunately, I didn't get a good test to see if that would help my body rebound.
And then my second question, can you give me a breakdown and walk me through specifically what 5G is and the technology behind it?
So 5G is, it's actually moving up the spectrum from microwaves to millimeter waves, which is a tighter wave. Doesn't travel as well. That's why it's like
it travels good. It doesn't travel as far.
Right. It doesn't travel as far. Correct. So it has to travel on 3 and 4G, and it piggybacks to cover longer distances. So this millimeter wave technology it goes from microwave technology, oscillates water molecules, where these millimeter waves, they step it up to oxygen molecules. So that affects hemoglobin. So that's where the health issues start.
All right. So here's what I'm going to ask, just because this conversation does make me a little nervous. Would you be willing to get me put together a list of all your sources, anything I can read or review, the documentaries, everything you've listed here, and send it to me in a Facebook message. Allow me a little time to review everything and increase my knowledge in this area. And then we'll circle back to this conversation after I've had time to review all this. Would you be okay with that?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome. So before we move on, Dave, did you have any last questions?
No, I think we covered it. I think, Joe, personally, I would just, invite you to ask yourself again the question that I posed to you that you acknowledged you didn't have a good answer for. If these companies that produce the 5G that is killing people, if their goal is to make money and to increase their profits, and yet the very product that they're producing is killing their customer base, I think you need to come up with a good reason for why that makes sense to you, because that in and of itself shows that this theory of yours makes absolutely no sense. And the second thing is watch Better Call Saul. There's a whole storyline in Better Call Saul where his lawyer brother has this same fear of electronics, and it basically ends up ruining his life. Not that that's the true thing, but that's just a show that talks about this very thing.
Right.
All right, Joe, in 30 seconds or less, I'm going to give you the last word.
Okay, just to hit on Dave's point there, I don't feel like that's my question to answer, because I'm not the one pushing this technology. That's questions for.
But you're the one talking about the theory that this technology is killing people.
Right, but I don't know what their incentive is. Why they don't care? It's harmful, I guess. That's my point. They can't have an incentive that cuts against their goal of making profits for the shareholders. That's the thing that you're missing. I guess that's where this COVID cover-up comes into play, because if we don't know, then we just keep using their tax, right?
COVID cover-up. That's where we're at.
Keep paying them their.
So the other thing to keep in mind, Joe, is the amount of secrecy needed to keep this a secret, because we know humans cannot keep their mouths shut. And in order to keep such a large-scale conspiracy theory like this silent, I just don't believe that that's even possible. But
I believe in a couple of years there won't be it won't be able to hide it. It'll just be too obvious.
okay.
So it's all coming out soon.
All right. Well, Joe, get me that information, everything you can. And again, allow me some time to review and follow up. And I appreciate you taking the time to call in today.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate the call.
Yeah. Hey, good talking to you guys. Thanks.
All right. You have a good one.
Have a good one.